Welcome viewers, Dr. JWAU, theologist. Australia, how did politics make life this hard? You paid for the failure, then you paid to fix it. Your electricity bills rise, government announces relief, housing becomes unaffordable, government announces assistance, infrastructure falls behind, government announces billions in new spending, your billions. The announcement sounds like government has arrived to the rescue of the civilian, the Australian, but there's something missing from the story. Where did the rescue money come from? Government does not possess an independent pool of wealth disconnected from Australians. You see, you've got to remember the government's supposed to be working in duty of care of us. Programs must ultimately be financed through revenue, borrowing, redirected expenditure, or other public resources. So consider the architecture from the civilian's position. First, political decisions interact badly. The civilians absorb the consequence. Their housing costs increase, their essential expense rise, their disposable income contracts, disappears in most cases, and they respond exactly as Australians have repeatedly been expected to respond. More work, spend less, borrow, delay, adapt, then the pressure becomes politically impossible to ignore. Government returns with the solution: a rebate, a subsidy, a grant, a guarantee, a relief package, a new department which you'll pay for, an infrastructure program, another intervention. But if the underlay architecture of this political structure remains substantially intact, something extraordinary has happened. The civilian, you, have paid for the consequences, and now you contribute towards managing the consequences, and that's why you're broke. It's called political, financial abuse. Covert, not covert, overt, it's right in front of our eyes, political, financial abuse. So the civilian pays for the consequences of these negligent political decisions, and now the civilian contributes towards managing financially the consequence. The cycle's this. This is the cycle. Come on, some of you older people, you know. Political carelessness, civilian loss, government relief, sometimes, public cost, and the civilian pays again and again and again and again. That's why everyone's broke. And repeated across decades, the damage compounds. Money that could have become savings disappears into what the political architecture has caused to be family essentials. Savings that could have become a deposit on a house, they've disappeared. This generation behind us, or the grandkids, they'll never buy a house. You say, well, that's a bit negative. Put yourself in that position on the wages that you're on. It ain't going to happen. It's over. Savings that could have become a deposit disappear. Investment opportunities disappear, or at least they're taxed. Tax on tax. Debts last longer. Hello, debts last longer. Your working life stretches further. Family time contracts. Children inherit weaker financial foundations. Eventually, political failure is no longer costing the civilian merely today's money. It begins consuming tomorrow's income. And this is where the allegation of political architectural moral bankruptcy becomes more serious. Political architectural moral bankruptcy becomes more serious because it's hard to even comprehend that this is just financial moral bankruptcy from the politicians. If governments recognise recurring financial damage on the civilians, but repeatedly manage symptoms while preserving architecture that continues producing those symptoms, then the question cannot remain. How much relief will government provide? Well, government's saying they're providing the relief, but the relief is actually the money, your money, that they've taxed. The question has to become, why was the Australian civilian required to finance the failure of the politicians, of the government, in the first place? Have you ever stopped to ask yourself that question? Nobody pays for my mistakes. And if evidence ultimately establishes foreseeable, avoidable, and measurable losses caused by the politicians, Australians should be entitled to demand something stronger than another taxpayer-funded rebate. We should be able to demand that responsibility be identified, the damage be quantified, and genuine compensation be examined to the Australian public who paid for all this political financial negligence. Isn't that fair? If you're a builder and you stuff up a job, you better compensate it. These people are stuffing up things at the costs of hundreds of billions of dollars of your money, and they're just walking away as if nothing happened. No, we should be compensated, genuinely compensated for the waste, and they should be fired. Put your response in the comments. Should you be compensated for the money and the hardship, financial hardship that's been placed on you by this political financial architecture? Because the Australian dream for middle to lower class people, it's gone.